Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I can see you've all just come in. We were having you in the waiting room. We've just gone live on the Facebook as well on Awoken TV. And just a massive welcome. It'd be wonderful to hear where everybody is from as I let more people
Yeah,
in.
type it
Just
in the chat
type it
where
in
you
the
live.
chat. Let us know where you are. And there's
Gorgeous.
just more coming on. In England, we can see, oh, here's Kaipacha. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Nice and
Woo.
early.
And there's Steve
Awesome.
Orty. Woo!
Wow.
I've muted
Everybody
you
here.
you all so that you just know, hey, honey. Hello, Jan. Nice to see everybody.
Chance underneath Sally.
Jan, Jan lives down there. Down
Hey,
there.
Jan, hope we don't make
I
you
want a
noise
necklace
today.
like Monte.
Okay, Pacha. I'd love to
Yeah,
Look
hear.
at, look at that necklace. Woo!
I'm ready to party.
exactly.
Netherlands, Singapore. Oh my gosh, this is exciting.
Yeah, just looking at the chat, and hello to everybody who's on Facebook. Amazing to see you all. Right now, outside the window in London, we can see the moon. So we've had the whole day already. We've already done this day, and we're entering into that time, which will be, well, tomorrow night will be the longest night. So tomorrow will be the shortest day. And you guys, I think, have still got some daytime to go. Ah, Sweden, Belgium, Plymouth. That's got to be Steve. So Steve actually is the Steve Orty there. I just want to big him up. Do you want to unmute yourself, darling? I know you've been on your motorcycle today. We can't hear you. There's
It
something.
was very good. The weather was very poor, but hey, gotta get out.
Hey, it's the winter solstice. But
Absolutely.
Steve's platform is what this is taking place on. So over the last 2 weeks, we have done tons of work to make this work, and just mucho gratitude to you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
it's
Appreciate it.
been, yeah,
Great to be part of it. Really is.
yeah, totally. And seeing more people um, come in. Let me have a look as we come in.
Surrey, Belgium.
Sorry.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I'm Belgian, yeah. Um, and maybe we know that in an hour, Kai Patch is coming back to do his amazing astrology and astrological reading for today. But you've got me and Monty right now, and I'll just tell you what I've been up to. So I did a ritual today to change my name. So I normally go into this naming thing of how I announce myself, and I'm going to change it. So I'm going to announce it tonight. And the reason for that, I'll tell you why first, and I'll have a sip so I can say it perfectly. I do many, many rituals in my life. I believe in ritual. I think it shifts you and it shifts the planet when we honor the moments that we can go through and go into. And so I was quite aware for some time. I've never really liked my name. Bless my parents, but my mum chose the name Sally because she wanted me to fit in. And that was her whole focus of she wanted me to fit in because that's what she's all about. She wants to fit in. And then me, she has this outrageous creature who wants the biggest, most glamorous name. And I was like, I always remember when she told me this, like, you wanted me to fit in. And so it was a very disappointing name because Sally over here can just be like the girl next door, or all of those songs like Good Time Sally, that. Um, so I did a magical process. I've been in rituals for hours today, and my new name is Inarra, which means shining light, and it's part of the coming into the Aquarian age. And I chose it for this winter solstice because this is stepping into the Aquarian age. And my parents really don't call me Sally anyway. They call me love or hi or hello. So, but for everybody else, I'm changing my name. And the second name is Ariane, and they're all coded. I've worked with my friend Ariella Indigo, who changed her name to Ariella Juno Indigo. And we have now codes which are working specifically with New Earth. And so that's my announcement. But I've been doing ritual all day, and I want to bring that into this space, especially before Kaipacha talks at great length, I imagine, about the importance of this very moment in time, this very day, exactly why this is the Aquarian age. We've got Saturn and Jupiter in the first degree of Aquarius conjunct. So it's all lined up. And this has been the, Hopi Indians have been giving us these prophecies for years. It's all been about the time of great turbulence, of the ending of the patriarchy. And we know that the patriarchy doesn't mean men, right? To be clear, the brothers, we love you. But what it does mean is, imagine that old image of the old patriarchy with long beards and stuffy, all huddled together, figuring out ways to control everything. And so when we look at some of the prophecies that are going on right now, Hopi Indians were talking about this is the time of the rainbow tribe. And they're all different colors of the rainbow, all different people from around the world. And then they're red on the inside. And the red on the inside could mean, on some level, referring to, in a terrible way, red skin. But actually, in a bigger way, it means these are the group that have been reincarnated onto the planet, the souls that chose to be here right now. And we all came down to manifest at this time because we knew there was a crisis going on. And this is the crisis or the birthing before we move into New Earth. Monty's asking me, am I on speaker view? Yes, as far as I know, I am. Are you not seeing speaker view?
Just for me it was gallery, and I just wanted to double check for the recording. I think it'll be better so people can actually see you while you're talking.
Yeah, just testing, just letting you know. So we have the Hopi prophecies. We also have the Mayan calendar. We're out of time. We are literally out of time. We've stepped out of many of these constructs that we've had for so long. And the old era was all about control. So you can imagine some of the worst examples you're seeing right now. Like you're seeing the old order going down, and it is ugly. They will kick and claw and gasp and hang on to everything because that is the way that they've been living their lives, and they come from a different kind of energy. And Aquarius is going to blast through a lot of that. Aquarius is, Kaipacha often says, is not an air sign. It's out of this world. It's galactic. It's interplanetary. And so some of the solutions that may come through right now will be like from zero to suddenly there's a solution. And I'm down for that because I'm a massive humanitarian. I really believe in this equality for all, peace, and it's a different structure. So if you're trying to present leadership in an era where you've got everybody is equal, for instance, where somebody isn't on top, how is that going to look in the Aquarian age? It's going to look like you influence from within. You influence by invitation. You influence by collaboration. And so many of the greatest events and all of the kind of great works that you'll see, which will accelerate at light speed, will be through collaboration. And on that note, I want to just mention that, Awoken TV, Laura Correo, who is there, she's up early for her. She's a vampire, really. And we have conversations between the pair of us, me first thing in the morning in London time, and she's like, it's 3 a.m. for her. That's normal. Talking business, I couldn't even begin to speak business at that time. And so we came together to create this. This is my company, the New Earth Visionaries. We've got Monte Cox, who is the MC, and Monte and I have worked together before. Steve Orty with the platform, inviting all of you in to share and contribute, and let's see the shift that we can create. And maybe, Monte, it's perfect timing for you to come in.
Thank you. Could you say your name fully? Are you keeping Griffyn, or was that a middle name, or is that like your?
I'm keeping Griffyn because I chose that name before many years ago. It's my grandmother's name. So I kept Griffin because that's all the Celtic, sort of ritual stuff that I do. I'm very hooked into this land here in Britain, and but it's Inarra, which means shining light, Ariane, which means great fruitful mother of the moon,
Yes, ma'am.
Griffin, which is, as you know, one of those mythological creatures who morphs into all different things. It's a snake, eagle, and lion. And that's kind of me.
What? Tell us a little bit more about the ritual today. What was that like for you?
Well, taking on the timing is something because I work with seasons and cycles and moon cycles all the time. So I knew it was the right time. I was in a ritual at Samhain or Halloween, and I was with Jan, actually, who is down there. She's somewhere on here, but she's definitely down there. And we were in this ritual, and it took me off guard because Ariella said to me directly, "Do you want to change your name?" And I found myself in the middle of this ritual going, "Yes, I do." And I had no idea why. It was very, yes, I do. Why am I changing my name? But from that point on, I started really recognizing that my old name has got traces of that withhold that my mum has. Bless her, I love my mum. But she also had this idea of wanting me to fit in. So, like I said, Sally is the name that she gave me to not be intrusive, expansive, or big. She gave it to me to hold me in. And I am not one of those people. And I work with New Earth leaders and influencers, and I am one myself. I want to be massive. I want rays shining out. So when I chose Inarra, we have to look for the signs that come up. When you make a commitment to the new name, we look for signs that come up. And you give a date when you know that you want it to come in for sure. So the date that I gave it was the last dark of the moon. Dark of the moon is one of the deepest divination points that you can get before the new moon, day before. So on the 13th, I was waiting for the signs, and I had two of them which were extraordinary. I mean, I've lived here for, 14 years in this flat. I have never seen light like the light that came in twice. It was blinding. And my cleaning lady was here. She's a friend as well, Gurgana. But we were like, whoa, this is like, we're sort of trying to escape it on some level. And I thought, that's the sign. And then I was driving somewhere, and I just looked at this cloud burst. I thought, very unusual cloud formation. And all of a sudden there was this ray of light just blasting through it. And I thought, so I've had two examples of exactly what the name means to bring on the symbol of Inarra. It's very exotic. So it's Inarra, Ariane, Griffyn.
Where
From
did
this
you,
point on.
were you already aware of the word Inarra, the name Inarra from or did you just start looking around for what are gorgeous names for light? Like, how did you do it? Because I know other people are interested.
No, I actually, Ariella said that often our soul, when we're coming in, the parents may be given the name that the soul wants. So my mum wanted to call me Ariana. And whenever she's told me that, I always go, oh, why didn't you call me that? She goes back to this thing. I called you Sally to protect you, so you would fit in. And my story is I've never fit in, right? Ever. And so she, on some level, was working with her energy about helping me fit in. But the reality was this Ariana coming through, I looked at that first because this is what Ariella said. What were the names that the parents may have chosen? What was coming in? And so I looked at Ariana. I loved the sound of it, but in some way I like Ariane because it's like a singing bowl, and because I play singing bowl. So you can hear Inarra, Ariane, a bit like that, Griffyn, and Griffyn grounds it. So today we did a solstice ritual, but at the same time we had Ariella doing this recoding of what my names will mean and merging what I was born with and making them all appropriate and saying goodbye to old things and saying hello to new things. And the new is really at the central part of this. I'm bringing in love, big love. That's the center of me. I am a high priestess. I deliver love a lot. I help people a lot on that capacity. I want to walk in a partnership now. So I've made that's part of the name. So
Beautiful. I love it. Like you're talking about it. And I just got love tattooed on my arm last week or 2 weeks
yeah,
ago. So
yeah.
perfect.
Show us
Uh,
both your arms because you
uh,
had both done.
oh yeah. Hold on. I've got a
Whoop.
bit dressed up for you today for our special event. So yeah.
I'll get your arms out.
Yeah. So my arms are out now. Yeah. We're going to paint. This is going to be a blue sun in a couple of weeks after I'm going on holiday after this. So, and I live on a gorgeous lake. So I wanted to be able to swim. So yeah, so soon I'm gonna have a blue sun, which is I don't know where it's coming in from. I know somewhere out in the universe I'm pulling it in where there's a blue sun. So
Well,
um,
interesting. And for you, you've just gone through a whole thing as well. Monte was, when I met him, I think 2 years ago, you
yeah,
were an established LAer. LAer. And just before this, really this event, we were already talking about this event, but you had this incredible breakthrough that you wanted to sell everything, give everything up, just go traveling and create a new life. And that's exactly what you did. So tell us about that. That's a bit like getting a new name. Maybe you need a new middle name.
yeah. Well, we were talking about that. I may pull something in. I love my name so much, but I am interested in like bringing in new codes and new energies, especially for as we step into the Aquarian age. Um, yeah, I just a couple of gosh, it was during the lockdown. I was really becoming disheartened living. I was living in Los Angeles, single, so I was in an apartment by myself, and there it's just full mask. And just after a couple of months, I was like, why am I living in this little box by myself? And I had a friend that was actually living where I'm living, and I was like, well, let me just start my travels. My one of my visions is to like be somewhere for like 3 to 4 months, meet, make friends, learn about the culture, and then move somewhere else. I'm just really interested in how people are living and how they're interacting all over the world. And so I came here because I figured, well, I know at least one person, so it felt safe. And like a week, and so then when they opened the borders here, because they were locked down in Guatemala, and she told me they were open the borders. I waited a few days, and on September 11th, I announced that I called my landlord. I did everything. I announced that I was leaving, and then a week later, she let me know that she had to take off for Canada. So, which ended up to be perfect because I ended up in the spot that I was inspired by, because this is exactly where she would talk to me, and I just loved it. And like I just want to show you some of the trees right there. It's just beautiful. And then oh gosh, let's look at the light. I mean, she's a pretty lady. And so she's gorgeous. And
Yeah.
so then I ended up in the exact spot that inspired me, and it was a really big ritual or initiation, sorry, more so, which I didn't really, you can't know until you're doing something, but in the process of letting my things go, and packing up my clothes, getting rid of, like, selling off a bunch. And then my father came and picked up some of my favorite things, but like putting them into storage and realizing, wow, well, I may never see you again, or it will be years, or I may never care. It's just like a whole part of the life ending. And it's been super fresh, like I've just been letting go of so much since I've gotten here. And first couple of months we're just chilling and processing, and now I'm just like having so much fun and really grateful. Like here I get to hug people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so it's
And
fabulous.
the endings, because actually I'm going to take people through a little bit of a clearing for the winter solstice, which is a very traditional ritual, particularly in the threads of work that I do, which is Wicca. So it's a nature religion. It's all about the divine is nature, the seasons, the cycles, and we look to things, for example. So the winter solstice has always been this, if you imagine pre-Christianity, pre-Judaism, pre-Islam, pre all the recent religions, because I consider them very recent. When you look back and you see Stonehenge, which is an ancient spiritual path, and you realize that so many of these ancient ritual sites were all based on the winter solstice, not the summer solstice. The winter solstice was one of the key times in the year. And one of the things that you see is that I've traveled around and looked at many stone sites. They look along the horizon lines. They have the ley lines all going through them, which are energy lines, and dowsers can pick those up. And then what you notice is that all the plinths at the top are exactly where the sun will go near. And on the winter solstice, in some of the Irish ritual sites, there are little windows which are no bigger than, say, your computer screen. They're so accurately lined up to astronomy, not even astrology, like astronomy. It was like a level of a science like then, that 5,000 years ago, within 3 days of the winter solstice, the sun, if it came up in Ireland, I always joke, and it did sometimes, but if it didn't, you'd be waiting. But if you got it, it would hit it directly in these tiny window portals, and they would then beam that shaft of light into the center of it, like Newgrange is one of those. And it is extraordinary when you think about, they were so accurate with all of their astronomical understandings. So winter solstice was huge, and it had this whole piece about if the sun was life, the S-U-N, sun was life force. And every nature religion and every tribal path and indigenous path, including all the white religions, right? Spiritual paths, they all look to the sun as the life giver, and mostly as a male force. And they saw the earth as the feminine, and like Mother Earth is one of the ways that we talk about the earth. And so the sun at that time was a fertility dance that would go on, where as this low arc of the sun was going across, it would go below the horizon. And at the winter solstice, there was this understanding that the sun died. The S-U-N died, not the Son of God, S-O-N, but the S-U-N. And that at that time, there were also these very important star formations or planetary, sites in the sky, which were the symbols of, like, the Star of Bethlehem, the coming of the kings. These were all astrological events. And the winter solstice was one of the key pieces that then many later religions put their stories on top. So you had, when you hear about the Christ story, and why did they put his birthday on this time? Because of the winter solstice, because he was another sacrificial king. And we can go into so many layers of that. But the ancient paths look to the winter solstice as this rebirth time. That there's a time when the sun, S-U-N, dies. Then 3 days later, the sun is reborn or resurrected. There's so many languagings of this. And we as humans have used this time to do some really deep work on ourselves. It was the rituals of sitting around the fire, the Yule log, which was the fire that went all night long on this night. And we would all sit around it and tell your stories and tell your hopes and your wishes and your dreams and your losses. And the ashes of that fire was then picked up, and it would fertilize the fields to bring in good harvest the next year. Because again, fire, often male associated as an element, would then fertilize the earth, which was the feminine. So many of these things are just like fertility interplays over and over again. And we humans, we had just a few roles on this night. One was to bring in the greenery, right? Bring in the greenery. This is hundreds of thousands of years old. This is not just a recent thing. And when people talk about their sort of, oh, it's so commercial, I'm so bummed out. It's like, this is not commercial. This is the most ancient part, right? Bringing in the greenery, because the symbol was to bring life force back into your life at the time of that sun death, to bring back the resurrection. So this is really ancient. And I've talked to Monte about another one, which is really ancient, which is very interesting for anybody who is trans, Anybody who is between the genders, betwixt the genders, has a different identity, because also hundreds and thousands of years, there is a character that was represented at this time which would dress both in male and female. So it would be exactly, both. It was actually a fertility symbol because it was carrying both, but actually it was just completely genderless. It was a mishmash and a mix-up, and it was considered a completely positive thing, a bit like two spirits in Native American Indian teachings. They were considered lucky, and they would visit your home on this night, or your hut, or your, whatever, your your shack, and you would want them to cross the threshold, because it was the betwixt and the between, because we're in the transition. These transition beings were considered super lucky, and they would bring a gift of coal, and you would invite them in across the threshold, and that was like a blessing to your home. So there are three things that we know for sure, which are really, really ancient. Yule log, which is now a cake in Marks and Spencer's for the Brits. The Yule log has now become a cake, but it was once an ancient fire. An ancient fire. Yeah. And the greenery and the transgender cross being, which was considered very positive, those are hundreds of thousands of years old, very shamanic, very tribal of this land, and very lucky. So yeah, and storytelling.
Thank you. Thank you. I know we're going to go into the clearing that you were talking about. And I wonder, I always love listening to you because you're like everything you just said, I didn't know, except for what you told me last time. I'm wondering if there's any kind of prediction about specifically going into this winter solstice from, some of the traditions that you've looked at, going into the Aquarian age. Is it any kind of difference? I'm sure things are amplified. Like, what can you say about that?
Well, if you can just understand that what we're seeing is the dawning of a golden age. And Kaipacha once gave a hilarious talk about this dawning of the golden age. He'll come in his own time, but he did this thing. It's like, here we are. We're running into the golden age, and then we all die because we aren't going to see it, right? The souls who are here right now are here to help the birthing and the transition. And there are many high frequency beings, and even on this, attracted to this event. That's why they're here, because they feel that calling. So if you could stop looking at COVID, I don't even want to mention COVID much, right? And it was kind of banished out of my ritual that I did earlier, because the energy that gathers around all of that crap that you're speaking into existence, what you want to do tonight is let go of the old stories and allow the space for something really wildly unexpected and healing to come in. Really wild. And you don't have to know what it is. But whatever the area is, so for me, I want to bring in a relationship. And not just any relationship. I want to bring in a ceremonial man who's at a level so that we're having that kind of level, like a level of mastery, I would say. That's my thing. But ask yourself, what is your thing? Now, I don't know where that's going to come from. It sure as hell isn't coming from Bumble. And and I know that some people have met their partners there, but when I go to that place, I'm just like, it is soul destroying for me. I am not meeting the frequency that I want to meet. For you guys, you may find something that you've been trying to have a breakthrough in forever, whatever the area is. And if you can take that spaciousness into this clearing that we're going to do tonight in a traditional way, allow yourself to be excited and for that surprise element to come in with Aquarius. Aquarius is high frequency shifts like that. Doesn't take long.
I love that you brought in mastery, because that's been coming up around me a lot. And I'm actually reading a book on mastery. I just started like 2 or 3 days ago. So I think I'm just going to say self-mastery is what I'm going to go into this with. And let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
So make sure we've got plenty of time.
Yeah, we have plenty of time. So I invite you all to uncross your legs and uncross your hands so that the energy is very balanced between both sides of you. And you can shut your eyes. You may not be able to hear the singing bowl very well just because of the settings on Zoom, but you'll hear the first ding. If you wear glasses and you're willing to take them off, then take them off. And then allow yourself to settle in your chair and take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale through your mouth. And another one of those. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more of those. Deep breath in. And exhale through your mouth. And just allow yourself to start to soften. Every cell in your body softening. You can keep your eyes shut. And feeling how, as you're breathing in the very solstice, you're breathing in the Aquarian age now. Breathe it into every cell in your body. Allow that energy to start to move through all the cells like little lights. So you're lighting up the whole light body. And softening at the same time, receiving, going into this place of invitation. And next breath, breathe into the back of the heart. This space, which is constricted with heartbreak and loss and doubt and sadness and fear, breathe it out like black smoke. And then breathing into that space, the back of the heart. Breathing it in so that it's 100 times bigger in these pockets as you're bringing in new energy from the Aquarian age. And as you're breathing out anything which no longer serves you, breathe it out like black smoke. And breathing back into that heart space. Breathe in. Imagine yourself opening up 1,000 times behind yourself. Opening up as if you're in this cave and you're moving backwards 1,000 times back into new spaces in your heart. And as you breathe out black smoke. And as you're breathing in again, this time you're breathing in 10,000 times bigger into the back of your heart, opening these balloon-like areas, this cave, bringing in this invitation for something new to happen. And in this cave, you notice that there is a fire, and it's a beautiful fire. As you look around the cave, notice that you might see ancient drawings or hangings on the cave walls. Notice the size of the cave, and know that behind you, it's 100,000 times bigger than you're aware of. And you're breathing into this space. And the fire is so inviting, you go and sit beside it. And you start to gaze into the fire. The fire is the fire of inspiration. And you can feel the energy as you look inside the fire. All those different greens and flickering yellows and blues of the inner fire. And this fire is something that we can let go into. And so we're going to go all the way back to the last winter solstice. As you go back to the winter solstice of 2019, just allow yourself to remember, where were you? What were you doing? It's the end of 2019. You had so many dreams for 2020. What were they? What were you remembering that you wanted to achieve or bring into existence in 2020? Allow yourself to experience that, how you were feeling. Who were you with? Where were you? Were you in love? Were you getting divorced? Did you have a baby? Take a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale. And it's January of 2020. And you have so many things that you want to happen this year. Allow yourself to feel all those things. Did you have plans? Were you going traveling? How was your family? Who were you with? What was your experience last winter? Or were you even in this country? Take a deep breath in and exhale January out of your mouth. And we move into February. What was happening in February? You've got a wonderful, fresh view of the year ahead. And this is even before COVID. And in February, you probably had a lot of plans. How was your family? Were you in love? Were you letting go of a loved one? How were your kids? Did you have some plans to travel? What were you doing on Valentine's Day? Were you single and hopeful? Or were you madly in love with somebody? Take a deep breath in and breathe out February. And moving into March. March, they announced lockdown. They announced Corona. What were your reactions to that? Remember the idea that this was going to be short-lived, that you may not have to make any adjustments to your travel. All the hopes that you had at that time, spring flowers coming up. How was your family? Take a deep breath in and exhale. And March is gone. And you're in April. April was a beautiful month in London. The flowers were magnificent. Where were you at that time? Were you with your family? Had you had to cancel any trips? What were your hopes at that time? How was your health? Were you in love? Did anybody die? Take a deep breath in and exhale April. And we're moving into May. May is the season of love, the love festival. The trees are full and burgeoning with foliage. It's full of life force. And you may still have had plans that you thought none of your travel was going to be affected at that time. Who were you with? How was your business? Were you having to pivot? Were there any plans that you had to alter? Were your kids at home with you? Were you starting to experience homeschooling? Take a deep breath in and exhale May. Now moving into June. That's 6 months into this year. It's the time of the summer solstice, only 6 months ago. What were you doing? Were you traveling? Were you experiencing restriction? Were you happy? Were you enjoying time off work or changing the way that you worked? Did you make new business partners? Were you in love? Take a deep breath in and exhale June. And moving into July, high summer. Where were you? What were you doing? What plans did you have in July? Were you having a summer holiday? Did you have to change all your plans this year? How are your parents? How is your family? Take a deep breath in and exhale. July out. Moving into August. High summer. The time traditionally of all family holidays. Did you change them this year? How is your business? Were you worried? Were you having to learn some new things? How is your family? Did you go on holiday? Take a deep breath in and exhale August. And as we move now into September, we're already heading towards the autumn of this year. Experience what it was like going into the autumn time. How did you feel? Had you left your place? Had you left your place of work? Were you making new friends? Were you pregnant? Were you getting divorced? Were you in love? Were the kids back at school, or did you have them homeschooled? Take a deep breath in and exhale out September. And now moving into October. October, autumn. We had fabulous displays of colors in England this year because we had a very hot year. So we had beautiful leaves. What was it like where you were? Did you get out in nature? Did you go on a motorcycle trip? Did you walk in the fields? Were the kids in school? Did anybody that you know have COVID? Was everybody healthy? Take a deep breath in and exhale. October. Moving into November, only 1 month ago. How did you feel? How has the year been for you in November? Were you excited? Did you meet new friends? Were you opening up a global business online? Did you create new partnerships? How was your personal relationship? How are the kids? Take a deep breath in and exhale November. And now coming into this month, December of 2020. Now knowing what you know about this year, some of you will have done very clever pivots to change your businesses. Some of you will come up with new ways of learning and being. Many of you have had to change the way that you thought this year would be. Remember some of the trips that you've had to cancel. Are there people who you can't see because of lockdown? And then rolling it all the way up, this whole year, allow yourself to come up with a sentence that would summate it for you. What's a summation that you would say for you in your mind was this year? 2020 was... And then take a deep breath in and exhale. And now knowing what you know and bringing it all the way to this very moment on the Winter Solstice 2020, the portal into the Aquarian age. Allow yourself to be guided by everything that you've gone through and come up with 3 very strong intentions for your next year. So focus on things that you want to bring in 2021. Allow yourself to make them speak them in language as if it's already happened, in the affirmative. Allow yourself to get really clear on your intentions. And so if you can hear this, I'm going to ding this. I want you to say the first one to yourself. You can speak it out loud. You're muted, we can't hear you, so you could say it out loud. Your first intention for 2021. And then the second. And then bring in the third intention for 2021. What's the third intention? Take a deep breath in and exhale. Place your hands on your heart and feel the goodness in your heart that you have been guided through all the things that you want to let go of from 2020. And then as you open your eyes, you might want to rub your face, but we're lighting the intention of 2021. So you can rub your face, your chin, your jaw, back of the neck. Put it in my third eye, to your third eye. So keep this flame alight and sending you many blessings. May everything that you wish for come to pass.
Gorgeous. Thank you. I feel like I'm coming out of a bit of a hypnosis.
Always. Yeah. And for us, I mean, it's important to clear the energy, to move into the next phase, to not just get stuck in that conversation of the small C word that is the only thing that people are talking about right now. Turn off the news. Start to go into your hibernation. This is the right time to be in hibernation and to really be creating dreams for next year and allow them to be huge, not small because of what seems like the circumstances out there. These breakthrough solutions of Aquarius, of the portal, will happen like this. You know, love can happen in a second. Like that.
Gorgeous, Sally. I wonder if you do you have the link for people that want, maybe that are just here for right now for the live, that might want to get the further teachings, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this into the chat for everybody. So this is the landing page link, and if you go on there, how we've arranged this, because we wanted to create something that was going to not just be on the Nyght, which is tonight and tomorrow, we wanted to create a gathering of people who are going to help this move through the portal, and all of us with all of our energies and everything that we're looking at, all the things that we want to create. So we've got 37 people who are coming in. There was one who was coming in and we had a technical glitch from Bali. So I'm just going to say Andre Love has had a massive issue. He's doing a ritual right now. We can't share it because there's, apparently massive rainstorms in Bali. So there's no connection for his. So we've left only that one out. But everybody else, all these different teachers, healers, medicine people, therapists, trainers, have gathered together to create, first of all the events tonight will be available for 3 months. And if you're a little bit like me, I love the moments, but I'm always doing something in the moment. So I never have enough time in the moment to, experience all the experiences. So we've made it available for 3 months. And if you want to carry on doing all of these different kind of teachings, trainings, experiences, you can get those from on the landing page. There is an option there to buy it for 3 months. And that's $92. No, it's $97 and it's 70 pounds, I believe. I've just suddenly gone blank on the amount. So if you want to keep working, then our suggestion is to not just try and cram it in now. I mean, there will be the crammers, but I personally wouldn't be able to do that much work. So, take the rituals of tonight, and then if you want to, take it on, learn from these people who are pretty incredible. I don't know if you want to give any examples, Monte. I'm always forgetting who's part of it. But Kaipacha is then, just speaking of Kaipacha, he's coming back on. What we wanted to do further than that, and I'll just mention it now, there is something that we're going to announce, which is the Soul Kit. And whereas everything on this night and all the event is mostly pre-recorded, the Soul Kit, which is coming out in January, is not. It's a way for you to interact. There'll be at least 27 people who are offering their services, and it will all be very interactional so that you can actually go on a journey with them and experience the live teachings in this way. So we're doing a layering of how to move into the Aquarian age and taking yourselves on. Like, for me, I've said it's like a kid in a candy store. For me to be able to work with all these different people is just like, wow, because quite often I'm just working with one coach or one trainer or somebody at a time. This is experiencing all the different flavors. And so we will keep you abreast of that. You can always see it on Awoken TV's links. Speaking of which, Laura of Awoken, my dear friend, is she wants to come on and speak for a minute. So go for it. Unmute, girlfriend in LA.
Hello. Tell us your name again.
Inarra.
Sally. Inarra, my friend Inarra. I just wanted to welcome everyone and thank everyone for joining us today on the solstice. It's such a magical moment in time. It's actually like a pivotal time for Awoken, for Inarra and myself. And I just wanted to also thank Kaipacha for joining us. And I'm really excited to hear about the Aquarian age, the launching of the Aquarian age and all the astrological implications that will express. And also to let you guys know that after Kaipacha, I'll be joined by Eric Neese, and we're going to be talking about the future of Awoken TV. We're going to be talking about shamanism, plant medicine. I'm going to share feng shui tips. I'm also not just the Awoken CEO, but I am the feng shui lady as well. So I'm going to share some beautiful, pivotal tips for navigating into 2021. And I just wanted to say hello to everyone and bless you and thank you for joining us. And thank you so much. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, because Laura and I, and now she's learned my new name, Inarra. Laura and Inarra are going into a business together very soon, actually. This happened again through the collaboration of just liking each other and what we were up to. And so my company, the New Earth Visionaries, is merging with Awoken, and we're going to become the Awoken Visionaries, like very soon. And that's
We
part of the Aquarian Age. Yeah.
we are literally rebirthing this platform. There's so much in the works behind the scenes that is, we can't fully announce everything, but there's a lot of exciting things. I have to say, when I came up with the whole catchphrase of Gaia meets Mind Valley somewhere near Area 51 and a woo-woo Netflix, we're about to fully realize that vision in 2021, and I'm so excited to have both the Mystery School, the educational side of Awoken TV, as well as coming soon, the full-on entertainment film production side. It's so exciting, and I wouldn't have been able to realize this vision without Inarra. And I just realized Inarra and Laura rhyme. So
Yeah.
it's going to be Laura and Inarra, or Nara and Laura. I love it. But it's like a soul family, and I feel so blessed. So Kepacha, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much.
Mwah. And so, Monty, do you want to say anything as well? Because our MC, you are our MC.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you for that. I know that moved a lot of energy for a lot of people. Like for me, it was really cool to go through. I've never done one like that where you go through each month and really be where you were and like let it all go. And it was really powerful. So thank you for starting us off, Sally. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.
Sally.
Oh, sorry, Inarra.
Whoopsie. Inarra.
Inarra.
We'll get used to it. I mean, it's the first time calling you that.
No, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been calling you something else for so long. So
No, it's okay. I understand.
thank you and welcome to the world, Inarra.
Yes, and pleasure. And so we'll say goodbye. I'll still be on from London, Monte in Guatemala, and then I can see Caipacha is there.